Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today I'm going to make an ice-dyed shirt that is kind of a Shibori type fold, but I'm calling it the weird flag fold. I have the shirt turned inside out and I have it laying face up on my table. I'm going to grab one side of the hem or a corner of the hem of the shirt and fold it up to the opposite side of the shirt. Then I'm going to grab that seam where the hem of the shirt meets the top portion of the shirt and pinch that part and fold the top of the shirt down. As I'm going and making these folds, I'm folding the sleeves and some of the other things kind of into the shirt. So when I'm finished, I have a large triangle. I'm going to grab one corner of that triangle and fold it over to the other side. Then for the next fold, I'm going to fold half the triangle to one side of the shirt and then lift the shirt up and fold the other half of the triangle going the other direction. I'm going to do the same thing one more time. Fold half of the triangle one way and the other half the other way. So honestly, I have no idea what I've got right now. I just thought I wanted to do something different and thought I would give this a try. To hold all the folds in place, I'm going to use a couple rubber bands and then I'm going to place the shirt aside for a few days. Honestly, I'm working on a couple other projects and don't have time to get to it, but also because it's pretty thick, I want to make sure I let it dry out a little bit in the center so that I get really good color saturation. If you'd like to know a little bit more about this topic, I have a blog post out on my website discussing why I like to dye really thick folds when they're dry. And I have a link to my website down below this video in the description. Okay, so the shirt is completely dry, and for this shirt, I decided I was going to use a single dye color. I'm going to use Dye Spin's Dark Horse dye called Elysian. And if you haven't ever tried Elysian, it is a gorgeous color. Everybody kind of goes nuts for Mindbender, but I think Elysian is beautiful as well. So for my setup, I have a plastic tote. Then down inside of that tote, I have another plastic basket that has a solid bottom. Inside of that plastic basket, I'm placing a metal basket turned upside down so that the shirt doesn't sit down in the muck. And if you're wondering what muck is, it's just the melted ice that's mixed with the dye. I'm going to place the shirt with that main center point facing down, and then because the shirt is completely dry, right on those top seams, I'm going to spray a little bit of soda ash solution just so that the dye sticks better. Then over the top of that seam, I'm going to sprinkle Elysian, and I'm going to sprinkle quite a bit of dye on top of this seam because I want the dye to run all the way down through the shirt. Okay, I have a pretty good amount on the shirt, and then I need to kind of make myself some sort of a setup so that this shirt doesn't fall over. So I've taken a plastic lid to just some sort of a Tupperware-ish type container, placed it up next to it, and then another plastic basket next to that to hold it all tight in there. Then because of my setup and the shape of this shirt, I think it'll be easier just to use some pretty large ice cubes that I made. After this first layer of ice melted, I came back and added a second layer of ice cubes. And then after the second layer of ice cubes melted, I had one little end that had a little bit of white left. So I added just a little more dye to that area and then placed a couple more ice cubes on the shirt. If you'll notice, I forgot to add some additional soda ash over the top of the dye before I applied the ice. I was so focused on making myself some sort of a setup to keep the ice on the shirt. So when I added just a little bit more dye the last time, I added just a little bit of soda ash over the top. Then I allowed the shirt to process about 48 hours after that last layer of ice melted. Then to rinse the shirt, I took it to my utility sink and I began rinsing it in cold water to rinse out the soda ash. Then I took the rubber bands off the shirt, and warmed the water up to hot and continued rinsing in hot water to rinse out the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. Instead of rinsing for a long time, I went ahead and did my usual soak. I placed the shirt in my utility sink, added a little bit of Blue Dawn dish soap, some really hot water, and I allowed the shirt to soak. When the water cooled off, I changed it out and I continued that soaking process until my water was remaining almost clear. Then I placed the shirt along with some Dharma's professional textile detergent into my washing machine and I washed it using a hot water cycle. Okay, so I've washed, dried, and ironed the shirt, and let's see what this one looks like. Okay, so what do you guys think? I think this one looks really cool. Like I said, I had no clue what I was going to get because I was honestly just kind of on autopilot, just folding it. And I think it looks awesome. I love the folds. This is kind of why I called it a weird flag fold, because it kind of has that same flag fold look to it, where you fold it into triangles. And I really like the effect that happened just adding the dye to one side. As it flowed down through the shirt, it split into all of these really cool colors. I've got pinks and purples and teals and blues, a few little hints of yellow. I mean, like I said, if you guys haven't tried Elysian, it is really a pretty color. I think sometimes Mindbender just kind of overshadows Elysian and people kind of forget about it. But I love Elysian. I think it is beautiful. So when I first looked at this shirt, between the different pattern that's formed from the folds and all of the color splits, the very first thing I thought of was a kaleidoscope. And I just think it looks so cool. And it got really good color saturation. I forgot to sprinkle a little bit of additional dry soda ash over the top before I added on the ice, but it doesn't seem to have made a difference on this shirt. I did sprinkle a little bit more dry soda ash over the top later on in the process, but not initially. So I really love this shirt. I love the color, I love the fold, I love the dye splits. I just love the way the shirt turned out. And I'm definitely going to experiment with this one a little bit more. Maybe do some other single color dyes, because I think this one turned out really cool and I think it was fun to see the dye splits. But what do you guys think? Do you like this shirt? Do you like the fold? Do you like Elysian? Please drop me some comments down below and let me know. And if you've enjoyed watching the video, I sure would appreciate it if you would like it and if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you'll hit the bell, you'll receive a notification whenever I upload a new video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.